for somebody to get in there real quick. First person pop in. There go two people. Shalom, shalom, Hebrews and Shebrews. It's your brother Mikael Ben Israel. Today my reader is Mishael.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Yeah, y'all want to see him. There you go right there. We trying to make this work, y'all. Y'all know I've been having all type of laptop, computer problems and everything else. And I'm in Facebook jail. So I can't post nothing on my wall. So if y'all wondering why I didn't go live on my wall, that's why. They put me in Facebook jail for a week because of what I said to Brother Baran. Brother Baran, if you see this, you bogus, man, because I know you reported my comment. It literally said somebody reported your comment. Y'all like too soft to be always attacking people. That's crazy. But anyway, so, man, I'd like to first of all give all honor and praise to the Elohim and Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in the name of his son, Jesus Christ, our Mashiach. Y'all know how we do it at the walls of Jericho. Some of y'all tuning in, y'all see me on my beloved brother Kazak Ben Yehuda's page, a.k.a. Cassius Ben Israel. The brother came and helped the brother out because I really had the spirit on me to do my lesson at 10 a.m., y'all. So y'all bear with me. I know y'all like, he don't never be on when he's supposed to be on. It's always something happen. But, you know, better late than never, right? And so, yeah, today's lesson, I'm going to try to get on straight to it because I do got a nice little amount of things I want to go over. So it will be kind of extensive. But I just think with everything that's going on in the world today, you know, we need to start dealing with some meat. If it's any of you new people that's new in the truth, or you know, you just hearing us for the first time, if you you know, you may not be used to it, but we're gonna do a lot of reading out the Bible. So it won't be like your average church where they say one part or one verse and they talk for about 5-6 hours. We're gonna let the word of God talk more than we do. I got to keep that part in check because I can blah, 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 blah when I want to. So, yeah, so to kind of give y'all a backdrop on why I picked this title, if y'all see it, it's the old paths and the number 3. Is because I had made a post a few days ago, and I said on my post that, you know, when we was coming up back in the day, that, you know, we used to hear the old, if you want to say, wives' tale or myth, superstition. We used to say that death comes in 3s. I know y'all all heard that before. Peace, Sister Toya. And, you know, they used to say death comes in 3s. And it actually seemed like that. I don't know if we just preconditioned ourselves to believe that, but it seems as though that was true. Death comes in 3s. Unfortunately, the reason I made that post because I've lost 2 of my childhood friends. So these was very grown men. These wasn't no young boys out here, you know, doing what young boys do. These was men that had families. They were both murdered. Probably less than a 6-week time span from each other. And so I made on my post, I made a statement that, you know, about how we used to be told that things come in 3s, and I just pray I ain't the 3rd one, and I really don't look forward to hearing of anybody else dying, you know. And like I say, that ain't a written in stone science, because in the end of the day, the Most High take who we want to take and all of those type of things, you know. But it made me think when I was studying the scriptures extensive, is this one thing that I understand is that the law, statutes, and commandments that the Most High God gave us, it was to be wisdom to the other nations. So not only that, but even the way we moved and the understanding that we had of the spiritual realm, it was a science to the nation of Israel. That's what made us different from everybody else. We were literally the priests of this planet. Not just priests amongst each other, because even the priests needed priests. That's why we had the tribe of Levi and the sons of Aaron. But they were conditioning a nation of priests to be priests to the entire creation of the Most High God. If you can understand that, that shouldn't be complicated. And so with that being said, I think it's just, with all that's going on right now, I think it's just time for us to get off the milk and start dealing with some real spiritual matters. So one thing that stuck out to me while I was reading, you know, the Lord say the scriptures to come to our remembrance, right? And I remembered a phrase that used to be used by the prophets of old. So, brother, you get a chance, go to Jeremiah, the 6th chapter. And this what kind of stuck out to me while God was telling Israel what was going to happen to him. So you get to Jeremiah 6, read verse 16 for me. Hold up, before you read. If everybody can hear us clear, put the number 1 up there. Forget a train in the background. Put number 1 up there if y'all can hear us pretty clear. As soon as the first number 1 pop up, start reading. As soon as you see a 1, just watch Cass's phone or whatever. If y'all see me jerking too sometimes in videos, don't mind me. I ain't crazy or nothing, but I happen to get back spasms every time I get ready to go live, and they very violent. All right, cool. Go ahead, read.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein.
So, even in the midst of the Most High telling us we're about to get in trouble, you know, and I think during this time it was dealing with the nation of Babylon coming on us. And, you know, he was telling us, even in his judgment on us, that, look, I still got a way for y'all. If y'all don't want to get caught in this, look for the ways of old. That's the right way. And there's other scriptures that complement this. You can find it in Deuteronomy 2. And where was that other spot that you said? Is it Jeremiah 30-something? Ezekiel? Yeah, that too. And so, you know, and the key about this is not only when you read in the law, which is in the times of old, but when you looking at the example of our forefathers. Remember, all of our forefathers wasn't wicked. I know it's hard to believe that when you see all the retarded stuff that they used to do. Make sure you kick that cord out. But yes, we had good examples. We had good families and everything to show the righteous men and women in Israel who walked in them paths, and you see the good things that happen to them. So we had to start there. So we got to start when we read this book. Don't just read it to see the stories. You know, it tell us that all this is for our edification, right? But read it as examples to maybe that's how I need to get my life in order. There's some things, of course, you can't do because we're in the modern day, and that was ancient time we was in our land. But the principle of most of those things you can take. And you can apply that in your marriage. You can apply that in your family. You can apply that in yourself. You can apply that with your congregation or camp. You can apply that with your brothers and sisters. And you can apply that with your community, right? This is wisdom. This is true wisdom, right? We can't just read stuff and preach stuff. We have to live it. So, going back to what I was saying about this death coming in threes and all that, it was something that I remember me and the elders used to sit around and talk about. And we would talk about, like, you know, and let me put a disclaimer out there. We not getting into no numerology. We not getting into no gematria or none of that type of stuff. But the truth of the matter is God does everything in an order, and he does it for a reason. So he'll put signs there for you, and those of us who have eyes to see and ears to hear will understand them. So you'll see continuous numbers. Like most of us in the Hebrew Israelite community know, certain Hebraic numerical values, like 7. 7, you know what I'm saying, represents complete. We all know that, right? Most of us do. Rather, if you didn't, you do not. We know 12 represents fulfillment. That's why Jesus had 12 disciples. And we can use a few more examples. That's why it's 12 tribes of Israel that came out of Jacob. You know, and this other number that stands out that's not talked about too much, but you can find it over 467 times in the Bible, and that's the number 3. right? And what's interesting about the number 3 is you think about it, 3, from what I gathered from it over the years, it is a form of completeness. Now, completeness is 7, but what I mean by that, not to complicate y'all, is if we know 12 is fulfillment, how do you get 12? You need 4 sets of 3s. So you get 3, 3, 6, 3, 3, 6, that's 12. And one interesting thing I'm not going to read, but you can even go back and check in the book of Joshua. When the tribes went out, it was 3 tribes on the east of the Jordan, and then you had the other tribes, and all of them went out by 3s. You see what I'm saying? Like it was 3 to the east, 3 to the west, 3 to the north, 3 to the south. And that together made the fulfillment, made 12, right? So it's things like that. We don't get into it to the point of numerology where you think numbers are going to define your future. No, we doing this from the understanding that everything is done in a reason. And if everything was done in that reason, it had to be for a reason, right? So it's kind of taking it to a spiritual level, and you let everything fall in place, because what we going to find out is when these things was done this way, for one, they wasn't for nothing. And for 2, they turned out they turned out righteous. Let's put it like that. They's part of the will of God. So it's just good to have understanding on why we do certain things. So I think the most appropriate thing to do is let's start in the old path. And we're going to go to our father of faith, and that's Abraham. So, brother, when you get a chance, I'd like you to go to Genesis, the 22nd chapter. Genesis chapter 22. I'm glad y'all all tuning in with us. I hope y'all happy to see my little ugly face. I missed y'all. Like I say, I'm a Facebook convict now, so I just keep getting thrown in jail. They need to come out with a Facebook, what's that, a bond card or something. Straight up, though, like when we was in the world when I was a crook. Yeah, because, I mean, I'm going to keep getting locked up. Give me a little Facebook lawyer or something. I don't even get to plead my case or nothing. You just can report me. That's just, I already know because I got that Hebrew stuff in my title. That don't help. So I'm thinking about making a new Facebook account with the squarest Gentile's name ever. I think I'm going to come under the name of Peter Griffin or something.
Robert Covington.
Robert Covington, right. Billy Bathgate, or something like that. So let's go to Genesis, the 22nd chapter. And when you get there, brother, I want you to pick it up at verse 1.
And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now thy son, thy only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and give thee unto the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I tell thee of. Okay, now as y'all can see, this is the Lord talking to our patriot Abraham, and he's telling him to sacrifice the child of the covenant, which is our other forefather, which is Isaac. So that would technically be our grandfather. So you got Abraham, the great-granddaddy, Isaac, the granddaddy, and Jacob is the daddy, right? Y'all peep that? How many is that? 3. You see what I'm saying? Our original whole basis come from the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Y'all see where this is going? It's going to get real fun. So continue reading. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass, and took 2 of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and went unto the place of which God had told him. So as you can see, he got up early. Now he about to get ready to go. I want y'all to pay attention to this. So now he getting ready to go on hollow ground and do something. So you going to notice a theme in here, and the narrative is 3 is like a preparation to completeness. That's the best way I can put it. Rather, it's dealing with, we're going to even show even when it's dealing with fasting and all these type of things, right? And I remember because somebody asked me, I had said something about I try to pray 3 times a day. And I'm going to show you why we do that too. All these things is for a reason. And what I'm finding out is our ancestors had wisdom of these things. They wasn't just repetitious. Go ahead. Then on the 3rd day, Abraham, on the what? On the 3rd day. Okay, keep going. Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. Keep reading. And Abraham said unto his young men, Abide ye here with the ass. And I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you.
So as you can see, that was a 3-day preparation. You could say in some places preparation, a journey, but there's clearly a 3-day time period before he goes what? Before the Most High. He's going to worship, right? I want y'all to keep that in mind because you're going to come to keep seeing this. And you'll see why I say this is not for nothing, right? This is not for nothing. So I want you to go to, we're going to stay in Genesis, bro, and we're going to see how this thing may have even been laid down in from the foundation, literally. Go to Genesis, the 1st chapter. So we're going to go to Genesis, the 1st chapter. And I mean, the Most High actually put this on my spirit. And when I first looked at it, when I was writing out the lesson, I'm like, is this kind of a irrelevant kind of lesson? And then the more as I was reading, because, you know, you learn something even when you just putting a lesson together. You know, so you be learning as you're doing it, right? Even, you know how even we talk about when you teaching, you wind up teaching yourself, right? And so I started saying like, no, this is relevant. This is definitely relevant because we do get a lot of brothers and sisters, man, that they want to get off into some deeper stuff, right? And so why not? I mean, that's what we here for. So Genesis, the 1st chapter, and I want you to start at verse 9. The
1st chapter.
Verse 9, 1 and 9.
And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together unto one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so.
Okay, now, this is, of course, in the beginning of the creation, right? I want y'all to keep in mind, what does water represent? Now, this is literally talking about the waters when he created the earth. So he dealing with the waters. This for a reason, right? But I want y'all to pay attention to something because you know you cleanse with water. You clean yourself. Keep this in mind. And some of y'all that's astute in the book probably know where this going to wind up going. But go ahead, keep reading.
And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he seas. And God saw that it was good.
Keep reading.
And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, and the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after his kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so.
So after the water, you get what's produced from the water. The seed, the nutrients, all those type of things, right? It's kind of like if you've been 3 days and then you go before the Lord to give up an offering. I ain't going to get too deep, but let's just keep reading. What? Yeah, but let's keep reading. Yeah. But keep going, keep going.
And the earth brought forth grass, and herb yielding seed after his kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind, and God saw that it was good.
Keep reading.
And the evening and the morning were the 3rd day.
So, as you can see, the water which cleanses us, and also the fruit which sustain us, like worship and offerings and all those type of things in the old day, all this was made on the 3rd day. Now, with my understanding and the little wisdom that the Lord has given me over these 2 decades, I'm starting to see things. I know as carnal as I can be, and I can be in my folly, I actually do have a priestly side. And the Most High been showing me that, y'all. And so I see that on the 3rd day, he created one of the most vital things for our survival. That's water, that's the fruit, and the earth and seeds and all of that. And that's right. There you go. Baptism. You see where this is leading to, don't you? Yeah, look at you. Look at you. I ain't going to keep looking at y'all comments because I don't want this to turn into a 4-hour lesson, but I will catch some of them. So we're going to stay on that note, brother. And when you get a chance, go to Psalms, the 55th chapter. Psalms, the 55th chapter. Psalms 55. Psalms 55. And when you get there, I want you to read. Go start at verse 16. Read 16 and 17. Now let's listen to definitely one of the most astute characters, our forefathers rather, ever in history, and that's King David. Start at verse 16.
As for me, I will call upon God, and the Lord shall save me.
Okay.
Evening and morning and at noon will I pray and cry aloud, and he shall hear my voice.
So as you can see, if anybody you will listen to is King David, who was one of the Lord's anointed, who was somebody that everybody in Israel held to a man. I mean, that man, if you trying to live in David's shadow, you know, the only cat could do that was his beloved son Solomon, you know, before he messed up or whatever. But David is a hard shoe to fill. That's why people that even like to bring up stuff about King David now, just because he was a man and he made mistakes, y'all need to be careful talking crazy about that man. Like, real talk. I mean, for whatever he did wrong, that man is still promised the throne of Israel. And you got the nerve when we barely can... Some of us around here still trying to fight eating pork. Not me. But some of us around here is fighting with the littlest stuff, but you got the nerve to criticize a man after God's own heart that's promised the throne. Y'all might want to be careful. But anyway, I don't want to sidetrack. But my point is, you see what David telling you with his wisdom, how he got down? He said he prayed to the Most High because he know God is going to save him out of any circumstances. But when he say he do it, read that again, 17.
Evening, and morning, and at noon. And
at noon. So when I get up, the first thing that I do, I'm not telling y'all to do it, but like I say, our whole goal in this is to try, we filthy rags, y'all. So we trying to get ourselves back to the paths of old, or those that we know God had love for, like for real, right? And so when I get up, I pray, you know, and I try to pray at noon, and then I try to make sure I pray in the evening. You know what I'm saying? Sometime before I go to bed, right? Why not? King David ain't a bad example. You know what I'm saying? Yes, so we gonna stay on that note. I want you to go to let's see something else King David did when he prayed. I want you to go to did I write that wrong? Let me see something. Give me 1 second. Okay. Go to Psalms 5. Stay in Psalms and go back up to Psalms 5. Because I'm gonna hedge the bet, as our elder teacher brother Bowie used to say. We know God can hear you when you pray. You know, long as you try to be righteous, God can hear you when you pray. And we not even saying that God can't hear you when you're not doing it in this manner. But why not up the chances, right? Because he's seeing, man, this cat really is trying to walk in an upright way. Go to Psalms the 5th chapter, Mishael. And I want you to read, verse 7.
I'll go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
But as for me, I will continue into thy house in the multitude of thy mercy, and in thy fear will I worship towards thy holy temple.
Now, this is one of the reasons, although it's not standing there no more, this is one of the reasons people ask us why we face the east, you know, which is just a generic term because even Muslims face the east, but we're facing Jerusalem. That's where the holy temple was at. You see what I'm saying? So we see King David not only pray 3 times a day, at least, because he got another scripture where he say he pray all the time. But we know he prayed at least 3 times a day, and we know he faced the holy temple, which would be east of us. If we lived over in India, we'd be praying to the west, right? So this is just one of the things we do. And if you notice, that's 3 times. So I'm going to continue on this. Go to 1 Kings. So we're going to go to 1 Kings. Oops, wrong way. 1 Kings. And I want you to go to chapter 8, 1 Kings chapter 8. And when you get there, bro, I want you to pick it up at verse 44. 1 Kings 8 and 44. When you get that, read.
If thy people go out to battle against their enemy, whithersoever thou shalt send them, and shall pray unto the Lord towards the city which thou hast chosen, and towards the house that I have built for thy name, then hear thou in heaven, their prayer and their supplication and maintain their cause.
So, as you can see, this is a decree that was put down. And he's saying, and trust me, the Most High listens to you. He listens to you in your obedience. He listened to King David. He listened to King Solomon. And he made a decree. He said, man, you know, whether we go on to war, even other ones even tell you if we sent out to captivity or whatever, if we face this place, which is what David was just saying that he faced, and now we see that he facing it, you know, hear their prayers, hear their supplication. So this is why I pray to us Jerusalem 3 times a day. So it ain't for nothing. It's not just a meaningless custom or just repetitious behavior. It actually has a spiritual significance to it, and I want the Lord to know that I'm learning, and I'm going to try to do whatever I got to do to get myself right with him. And I definitely want him to hear me. And I can tell you, he responds. He definitely responds. So let's see somebody else that understood what David and Solomon them understood. So let's just go to the prophet Daniel. Y'all probably already knew I was going to go here. So let's go to the prophet Daniel. And let's see exactly which a lot of y'all, I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are familiar with this. But let's go to Daniel real quick and see exactly, because you got to think about it. This stuff was passed down to them. You know, they had an advantage over us. This stuff was passed down to them. They had to get on the internet and guess and wondering who putting pseudo information out there. They just ask the elders. You see what I'm saying? If it wasn't written in the book, they ask the elders. So let's go to Daniel the 6th chapter and pick it up at verse 7. Daniel 6 and 7 when you get there.
All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
So as they made the decree, they was trying to set Daniel up. They was jealous of him because he had the juice. And so, you know, he was a captive. You know, it's like us moving up in politics and start getting favored by the president or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And so they set it up where a petition to be made that if you worship any of your gods, because it was a lot of different nations under Babylon at the time. So it was like if you catch them worshiping any of their gods or any of that type of stuff before you know what I'm saying, then that would be a punishable by death. That would be a violation. Continue reading.
Now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing in the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem. Right. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, and he did aforetime.
And as you can see, and like they said, according to the law of the Medes and the Persians, because, you know, we went into Babylon, and from Babylon, the Persians took over, and then the Greeks, and then the Romans. So this was a straight setup. Daniel knew that it was signed. He like, okay, well, it's signed. That ain't about to stop me from doing what I do. Because, see, his knowledge and wisdom, understanding, and his faith in God, like David said. What did David say, y'all, in Psalms 55? He said, oh, God, you will save me, right? And so I pray morning, noon, and night. Is that what he said? Yes, sir. Well, there you know the same thing David knew. God will save me. So I'm going to pray. So what David was saying, Daniel actually lived it out later. You see what I'm saying? And it's tripped out because Daniel is actually from the house of David. You see what I'm saying? It's one of his relatives. So he going to do just, you know what I'm saying? He going to do it the same way. I believe what, see, this goes to show some people actually believe what they preach. Some people believe what they hear. You see what I'm saying? They don't just talk it, they believe it. So he prayed 3 times a day. And I'm pretty sure he probably did it morning, noon, and evening, just like David said. right? And so we're going to continue reading and show you. Now, keep in mind, y'all, that number 3. Let's go back to Genesis, the 15th chapter. So let's go to Genesis, the 15th chapter. It's to show you all these things is for a reason, y'all. All these things is for a reason, and we just trying to get some similitude of that back, you know, because things real wild out here. And my advice is that we should do all type of things to, you know what I'm saying, strengthen this spiritual armor that we get. Y'all feel me? So let's go to Genesis, the 15th chapter. And I want you to read verse 9, brother. Genesis, what I say? Genesis, what did I just say? Genesis 15, right. Genesis 15 and 9, my bad. Yeah, when you get there, go ahead and read.
And he said unto him, take me a heifer 3 years old, and a she goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and the young pigeon. Now,
here's the thing I want y'all to pay attention to. Because one of the animals that's mentioned right here, well, the first animal actually that's mentioned is the heifer. Now, I'm going to show y'all, pretty sure some of y'all know already. Y'all know about the stories of the red heifer and all that. Well, the heifer, going back to Genesis, the 1st chapter, on the 3rd day with the water and the cleansing, and then the fruit and stuff being produced, the heifer was the way that you cleansed the temple. You cleansed the altar with the heifer. And you see, read that again, verse 9, bro.
And he said unto him, take me a heifer of 3 years old.
Of how old?
3 years old.
So the heifer had to be 3 years old. This is for a reason, y'all. 3 years old. Not 3.5, not 4, not 2 3/4. A 3-year-old heifer. Keep going.
And a she goat of 3 years old.
3 years old.
And a ram of 3 years old.
3 years old.
And a turtle dove and a young pigeon.
Okay. So you see that right there, right? Now we're going to continue right here and see exactly what it's leading us to. Skip down to verse 12.
And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And lo, and a horror of great darkness fell upon him.
Keep reading.
And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with great substance.
So, as you can see, the whole thing about this is he got these animals, and he brought them before. Now, these are the same animals that would be used on sacrifices and all those type of things. And after that, what happens? The Lord reveals something to him. You see that? After this, the Most High revealed something to him concerning what was going to happen to his seed, which is talking about us when we went into the land of Egypt, right? So that's all that's talking about. That's not talking about us today, right now in America. You know, Hebrews keep fumbling with that. I'll let y'all get it together sooner or later. I don't debate it or nothing like that. But I guess after a while, and you have to keep, and if you have to keep on adding years to the prophecy, you're going to kind of figure out that ain't talking about right now, that happened already. But let's continue. So I want you to go to, we're going to stay in the Torah, and let's go to Numbers. Let's go to Numbers, the 19th chapter. Numbers 19. So when you get there, now remember, he grabbed a heifer that was 3 years old, y'all. And like I say, the heifer is very important. See, that's one of those things that people even be looking for in the prophecies, you know, with the abomination of desolation and the great tribulation and all that start. They look for the heifer. But the prophecy don't say nowhere straight out that be looking for a red heifer. It don't say that. It's just that people that know how the temple worked know that they have to get the red heifer. They got to, because the red heifer is how they have to clean the altar. So you know from knowing the scriptures, when that red heifer come out, and I know they keep bringing them up saying they got one over here. They've been having one for 20 years. But when they actually put it to use, you will know why. Because they're getting ready to start back doing the daily sacrifices, right? So go to, what did I say?
Numbers
Numbers 19. Okay, I want you to read verse 9. Numbers 19 and 9.
And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and lay them up without the camp in a clean place. And it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of separation. It is a purification for sin.
So, remember I took y'all to Genesis the 3rd chapter. Genesis the 1st chapter, right? And showed y'all the water, right? Now, here's the funny thing is, how do you think the term holy water, where it even come from? The holy water, what was produced after they sacrificed the red heifer, or after they used the red heifer to clean the altar. This is even where you even get the term holy water. You have holy water in the temple, which that was kind of separate, but this is where you get that from. So we looking at cleansing right now with this heifer, right? Skip down to verse 12.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day.
On the what?
On the 3rd day.
Keep going.
And on the 7th day he shall be clean.
And on the 7th day he should be clean, right?
Yes,
so he purifies himself on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day he shall be clean, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, keep reading. Yeah, I know, right? Keep going, though.
But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, then the 7th day he shall not be clean.
So, if he skipped and didn't go with the process of purification on the 3rd day, his 7th day he could not be clean. So he had to purify himself on the 3rd day, and then on the 7th day he will be clean. This is all a purification process of sin right here, y'all. This is a purification process of sin you are seeing. So this 3 is not for just some spooky reason that you have people running around here, you know, that's your lucky number and all. They ain't got nothing to do with no luck. This is the order of the Most High. This how deep this creator is we get. He got an order and it cannot be broken, right? So those of us that have the eyes to see and the ears to hear will start by studying in his word. You will start to recognize a pattern and see why he does certain things the way that he does them, excuse me. So I want you to, next we're going to go to, let's go back to Genesis. We're going to go back to Genesis. And I want you to go to Genesis, the 18th chapter. Genesis 18. You straight?
Yeah, I'm thinking about that scripture.
Oh, yeah. You don't have time. So y'all go back and look over them yourself when we done. So go to Genesis, the 18th chapter. I want you to go to Genesis 18. And when you get there, I want you to pick it up at verse 1. Genesis 18 and 1.
And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran up to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground.
Now, y'all see this? Now, this has always been tripped out to me. But y'all notice how many men appeared to him. It was 3 men, right? Well, we know we're understanding that 2 of those men was angels. One of those men was the Lord. And we're going to find that out. Read the next verse.
And said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourself under the tree. Right,
you can stop right there. So yeah, that always stuck out to me, you know what I'm saying, that the 3, you know, that the 3 popped up like that on them. And that's even got another lesson within itself, because one of the reasons we know, and if you just keep reading, you got some sense, you understand who Melchizedek was. You'll understand that one of these angels wasn't an angel. That was the Lord. That's why he stayed back. See, Abraham knew who he was. That's why he greeted him like that. You see what I'm saying? He stayed back because he don't walk on pollution and all that type of stuff. But the 2 angels later on went into Sodom and Gomorrah and did what they had to do, right? But that also represents when the Lord Spirit is even sitting on the we used to sit on the Ark of the Covenant, And they had the cherub angels around him. So whenever the Lord traveled, he always had those cherubs around him. You see what I'm saying? So that's like his secret service. We ain't saying he needed. I mean, can't nobody whoop him, but they definitely there. You see what I'm saying? And see, I knew that was gonna stop. That's why I'm glad I had this one planned already, because that's crazy. But anyway, devil won't get me today. So yeah, so we gonna continue. And I want to go to, let me see where I'm going to go next. 'Cause I got a couple of spots I want to go. We going to go to, give me 1 second. Should I go there? Yeah, we'll go here. So we're going to look at we're going to check something out real quick in the New Testament. I kind of threw this one in here in the last minute. But I ain't want to just stay in the Old Testament the whole time. So we're going to go to Acts. Let's go to Acts. Want to point something out. So when you be seeing certain things with certain like 7 and 3 and all that, it ain't just by chance or some random stuff. It's the Most High just don't work like that, right? So I want you to go to Acts, the 11th chapter, Acts 11, and I want you to pick it up at verse 6. Acts 11 and 6.
Upon the which, when I had fastened my eyes, I considered and saw 4-footed beasts of the earth and wild beasts and creeping things and fowls of the air.
Keep going.
And I heard a voice saying unto me, Arise, Peter, slay and eat. But I said, Not so, Lord, for nothing common or unclean have at any time entered into my mouth. So
one key thing we notice right here is he fasted. So Peter fasted, and we know the scriptures let us know that, you know, sometimes you just got to fast and pray, right? But when you fast, you usually fast to get a reaction from the Lord. You are invoking the Spirit of the Most High. And so that's what Peter did. He fasted to the Most High. You see what I'm saying? And the Most High dropped the vision on him. When he got hungry, the Most High dropped the vision. And this vision was with all these unclean beasts. And this is where some repugnant modern day religious people go to try to say that you can actually break the dietary law, which don't make sense if you even reading it, because we see what Peter gonna do. And the funny thing about it is Peter was an apostle. He was taught by them, man. Like, I'm pretty sure Christ would have told him, like, hey, man, you know, after I die, right, you can go ahead and just break dietary law. All that stuff is going away. You could definitely don't put no bondage on people to keep teaching them to keep following these old laws and stuff. No, he didn't tell them that, because not only would the Lord not say something as repugnant as that, but he would not tell you to break the law. That in itself is a sin. So do y'all realize when y'all be saying that, y'all saying Jesus sinned indirectly? For one, he be adding to it, taking away from the word. For two, you do not tell somebody to commit a sin or break the law. You see what I'm saying? He would be going against his own teachings. You actually calling him a sin within that action right there. So continue reading.
But the voice answered me again from heaven. What God have cleansed, that call not thou common. And this was done 3 times, and all were drawn up again.
This was done how many times?
3 times.
Okay. Keep going.
And all were drawn up again into heaven.
Now here you go again. And this was done 3 times. So God had to drop this vision down to him and tell him to eat 3 times during this encounter. And Peter telling him, no, Lord, like, you know how bold you got to be to know this God you talking to and tell him no. That's because he know God is not going to tell him to break his own law. So Peter's, that just show you, Joe, this cat was serious about not breaking God's law. And then you got to think about it. He had been with Jesus. Jesus letting them know, like, man, during the time he was with him, Joe, Satan then encountered me and tried to do some old type of stuff. So you got to be on your toes. So Peter was on his toes. He like, look, man, if you the Lord, I'm thinking you the Lord, but I know you ain't finna tell me to break your dietary law. So I know God like that. Like, oh, Peter, he ain't no punk. Plus he had to make up for what he did with the cock crowing and all that kind of stuff, but I ain't gonna hold that against him. But what verse you stop at?
I'm at 11 now.
You at verse 11? Yeah, keep reading.
And behold, immediately there were 3 men already come unto the house where I was, sent from Caesarea unto me.
Now, do y'all see this theme as being a repetitive theme? So immediately after this, 3 dudes pop up, right? Now, I just let y'all do whatever y'all gonna do with that, but keep reading.
And the Spirit bade me go with them, nothing doubting. Moreover, these 6 brethren accompanied me, and we entered into the man's house.
So you had the 3 that was with him, and then the other 3 that was there. You put them together, now that's 6. Keep going.
And he shewed us how he had seen an angel in his house, which stood and said unto him, Send me into Joppa, and call for Simon, whose surname is Peter, who shall tell the words whereby.
What verse you in now?
14.
You at verse 14?
Yeah.
Hold up, let me see right there. Oh yeah, you can finish that. Finish 14.
Who shall tell thee words whereby thou and all thy house shall be saved.
Okay, stop right there. And so I just wanted y'all to see that, right? Because this is what I want y'all to pay attention to. So we've already got the ground set. We see that it's something to cost with the purification time of 3, right? We see that it's also tied into some of our ancestors' prayers. Now we know fasting comes into play. Fasting is a sure way to get the Most High to react to you, right? So I want y'all to keep that in mind, because I just think some of us are better than others, and I need to get better at myself. But fasting needs to become more of a daily part of our life, y'all. Because it seems as though everybody else in the book did it, but for some reason we have a problem with doing it, only until we commanded to do it during the Day of Atonement. I don't think that's a real spiritual exercise. Real talk. That's kind of lazy spiritually, Joe. So I don't know how we got the nerve to criticize any of our ancestors in this book, especially the servants of the Lord, when we can't even do something like get some discipline and fast once a month. You know what I'm saying? If that, right? So I want you, we gonna stay on the same path, and I want you to bag up. We're gonna stay in Acts, and I want you to bag up to the 9th chapter. Acts 9 real quick. Acts the 9th chapter. And when you get there, pick it up at verse 3, bro. Acts 9 and pick it up at verse 3.
And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus. And suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? So
this is when Saul later became Paul, as the Hebrews said, brother Shaul. This is when Shaul was struck down by Christ, right? And you know, Paul used to get down and dirty on the believers of the Mashiach because he looked at it as idolatry. So he had a zeal, but his zeal was on the wrong side of the fence. With all the knowledge he had as a Pharisee, he should have seen at some point, like Nicodemus and them, that this is the dude. This is the dude that the prophet Isaiah and all them was talking about. Because contrary to popular belief, there really was no such thing as a non-messianic, especially in our forefathers' days. Today, we call some OT-only brothers non-messianic. But to be truthful with you, there was no such thing back then, because all of them knew that a Savior had to come. Now, the debate was, who was it going to be? Was it going to be Elijah? Was David coming back? All types of things like that. But they all knew that there had to be a Messiah coming. So Paul, with all the knowledge he had coming up in the law, he definitely should have knew this. But again, these are men we dealing with. So keep reading.
And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven, and he fell to the earth.
What verse you at, bro?
I'm at 9. I'm at 4. I just started back from 3.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
And he fell to the earth and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And he said, Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, whom thou persecutest. It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
Now, this is what's funny. You see his response? Now, the fact that he called him Lord, why would he ask him, who is he? Who you been praying to all this time? You know you've been praying to the Lord, right? So is it something a little different? Or is it because you probably had a feeling you knew who that was? Like, uh-oh, keep reading.
And he, trembling and astonished, said, Lord, what wilt thou have me to do? And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the city, and it shall be told thee what thou must do. Right. And the men, want me to keep going?
Keep going.
And the men which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man.
So while this is taking place, the dudes that was with Paul, they hear a voice, but they can't see nothing. You see what I'm saying? So you know they spooked. They just hear his voice. So this is another cut too, even though they gonna say, well, no, Christ ain't the Lord. But you get some OT cats saying, show me where the Lord spoke in the New Testament. Well, that's it right here. And evidently they'd have been in the same position with Paul, but at least Paul had enough sense to know, hey, this the Lord. But you can see he kind of spooked. Because why would you ask the Lord, who are you? Right. But you already said Lord.
Right.
So yeah, he know he in a jam right now. Because this that uh-oh moment. You see what I'm saying? But keep reading. What verse you at?
8.
Okay.
And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were open, he saw no man. But they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. Okay, so now he blinded him. So the blast was so strong that Paul was blind. I want y'all to pay close attention. So bro and them got him up like, man, Joe, you done messed up, Joe. You know what I'm saying? God done slapped you down. Gee, let's go on ahead and help you on over here. So keep reading. And he was 3 days without sight.
He was what?
3 days without sight. Neither did eat nor drink. So he was 3 days without sight. Here go that 3 again, y'all. This is Paul's cleansing moment. This is Paul's spiritual cleansing moment right now. And it was brought on him by force, not by choice. Y'all see this? I want y'all to really peep this, Joe. This is Paul being cleansed by the Lord. And what did he do? He didn't eat and he didn't drink, so he fasted. It looked like it was more about force than choice. He was probably so distraught, you know what I'm saying, that he just didn't want to eat and drink. But I'm going to look at it as he's fasting because what? We know when you fast, you get an answer from the Lord. So he's trying to fix this thing because, he messed up right now. So I want you to skip down to verse 12. Okay. And have seen in the vision.
No, it started 11.
And the Lord said unto him, Arise, and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Judas for one called Saul of Tarsus, for behold, he prayeth. And have seen in the vision a man named Ananias coming in, and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight. So, during this time when Paul was fasting, he was praying. He was praying to the Lord. You would be too. He done slapped you, and you noticed the cat that you've been persecuting his people and all them. And so he been praying, and he got a reaction from the Lord. So the Lord sent Ananias to him. And what's crazy, although he was blind, the Lord let him see in a vision Ananias coming. You see what I'm saying? He let him see him coming towards him or whatever, so he would know who it was that was coming to deal with him. Continue reading, bro. Then Ananias answered, Lord, I've heard by many of this man, how much evil he have done to thy saints at Jerusalem. So Ananias like, man, look, Lord, you sure you want me to deal with this cat? Dude is off the chain. Like he was out here murking us and throwing us in jail, God. Go ahead. And here he have authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on thy name. Look, and this cat got juice from the top dogs in Israel. See, Paul wasn't no foot soldier. Paul had juice. He got authority, man, to have any of us bound up. Or even worse, we know in some circumstances, killed. Keep reading. But the Lord said unto him, Go thy way, For he is a chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel.
And so, as you can see, he told them, look, yeah, I know all that. That's why I chose him. But he a vessel to me now. So they go to show you, brothers and sisters out there, no matter what you used to do in your former life, that don't mean that at some point, the God might take you through something to get your attention. Like he set me in a wheelchair. Because that's about all he could do to me other than kill me. So he set me in a wheelchair and he turned me into a vessel of the Lord. And now I'm going to go. Now I've been proclaiming the Most High God in Christ since my days. You see what I'm saying? Of me being stricken down. I'm not likening myself to Paul, but I do understand. So I want you to, where did you stop at? That was at 15, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that was at 15. Oh, yeah, I like to throw that in there, too. You notice he said them to be a light to the Gentiles and the kings and the children of Israel. I just hope y'all catch that, though. The Gentiles, the kings, which we know Israel ain't had no kings then, and Israel.
No, I think he meant the southern kingdom, brother.
No, it couldn't be the southern kingdom because he just said Israel. So, okay, I just want y'all to catch that in there, too. I don't know what made... and cats keep running to them Strongs and Blue Books, boy. They will create them a doctrine. And then what's funny, they don't even run to the first meaning. It'd be like 5, 6 meanings. They'll scroll all the way down to the last one. See that one right there? Yeah. See that word, gudakar, meaning the ancient Greek Kodak. That, come on, man. Just stop it. He made it English for us because he knew we was going to be in all these different languages anyway. I want you to go to, skip down to verse 17. You can just go to verse 17.
And Ananias went his way and entered into the house and putting his hands on him said, Brother Saul, the Lord, even Jesus, that appeared unto thee in the way as thou camest, have sent me. And thou mightest receive thy sight and be filled with the Holy Ghost.
Hallelujah. Keep going.
And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales. And he received sight forthwith, and arose and was baptized. And when he had received meat, he was strengthened. Then was Saul certain days with the disciples which were at Damascus.
Go ahead, you can read the verse 22.
And straightway he preached Christ in the synagogues, that he is the Son of God. But all that heard him were amazed and said, Is not this he that destroyed them which called on this name in Jerusalem, and came hither for that intent, that he might bring them bound unto the chief priests? Yeah,
I ain't tell you to read 20, but go ahead, I'm glad you did. So anyway, but yeah, no, I'm just messing with you, bro. Okay. But look, right, so as you can see, Paul went through this process. The Lord had to literally physically cleanse him. And then we see after he regained his sight, he got dipped. So then he got the physical baptism. So that go to show you when some of my beloved brothers are out here teaching that you don't need a water baptism, that you baptize just by the Spirit. Well, Paul just got both. He literally got baptized by the Lord when he blew him down for them 3 days. I can't see no other form. That's got to be the coldest form of a spiritual baptism because he physically did it. And then he went on and got the literal technical baptism. So, and none of us been in Paul's position. So, to hide one and not the other, that really, I ain't going to jump down on you about that.
He was a Pharisee.
Huh?
And he was a Pharisee.
Right. And this was a Pharisee. You see what I'm saying? So, even more so, us who's never been Pharisaical should definitely want to get both, right? And so, I want to go to, next, I'm going to go to Exodus, the 5th chapter. Let's go to Exodus, the 5th chapter. I hope y'all enjoying this tonight. I know it's kind of late, but y'all ain't got nothing else to do. It's Sunday. I know a lot of y'all got to go to work. So y'all might as well get some good food on y'all's stomach. We halfway through it right now. So go to Exodus 12. I want you to go to Exodus 12 and 5. Exodus 12 and 5. Which one did I say? Oh, 5 and 12. My bad. Exodus 5 and 12. Thanks. Exodus 5 and 12. Okay. Yeah, Exodus 5 and Exodus 5 and 1. My bad. Exodus 5 and 1. Pick it up at verse 1.
And afterward, Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, let my people go, and they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness.
Keep going.
And Pharaoh said, who is the Lord that I should obey his voice to let Israel go? I know not the Lord, neither would I let Israel go.
Keep going.
And they said, the God of the Hebrews have met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with the sword.
So as you can see, he went and made a proclamation to Pharaoh and told him, man, let go the Hebrews, man, so we can go sacrifice to our God. Now you start seeing why it would be this 3-day cleansing process before you went to before the Lord and before you did burnt offerings and peace offerings. Because it was even a literal 3 days journey before they could make it to the wilderness and sacrifice. So everything is set up like this for a reason. I want y'all to just really follow me on this. Everything is set up for a reason. Ain't nothing for no hokey doke and all of that type of stuff. Our God is a God of order, and he does it for a reason, right? And so, what's another funny thing, too, if you keep on reading this, which I'm not going to do, but y'all can do it on y'all own, we know that Pharaoh refused to let them go. If you keep reading, he's going to get some taskmasters. He's going to have them beating on Israel and making life hard for him and all that type of stuff. And y'all know what that kicked off? The plagues. Now, it's funny that we talking about cleansing, right, and getting right with the Lord. Y'all know what the third plague was? Since he wouldn't let them do their 3 days journey to go sacrifice, and we know that's a part of a completion process in cleansing and purification. You know what's funny? The third plague was the filthiest plague ever. Gnats, dust mites, and all that type of stuff on their skin. So it was the reverse of them being purified and clean. He put straight filth on them to the point where it drive them crazy. See, our God is a God of war. So when you try to deal with him with a carnal war, he going to take it with spiritual weapons on you. You see what I'm saying? And so this thing is serious right here. So I want to go to, let me see where I'm going to go next. Let's go to, let me see 1 second. What did I have next? Let's go back to Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis. We're going to go to Genesis, the 42nd chapter, Genesis 42. Genesis 42. And when you get there, Mishael, pick it up in verse 1. I want y'all to really analyze this story with us in Egypt, man. This is really tripped out. Now, look at this with y'all spiritual eyes, right? So let's go to Genesis 42. Pick it up in verse 1, Mishael.
Now, when Jacob saw that there was corn in Egypt, Jacob said unto his sons, why do you look one upon another?
Keep reading.
And he said, behold, I have heard that there is corn in Egypt. Get you down thither, and buy for us from thence, that we may live and not die. And Joseph's 10 brethren went down to buy corn in Egypt. But Benjamin, Joseph's brother, Jacob sent not with his brethren. For he said, lest peradventure mischief befall him.
Now you got to keep in mind, when Jacob sent, or Israel sent his kids down there to Egypt, you know what I'm saying, to get some corn and stuff, he kept Benjamin back. Because he was like, man, I don't want him getting caught in no mischief or messed up like that. I already had my youngest son get devoured by a beast from what they told him. My youngest son, they got caught in some mischief. No, you got to stay here. You can't follow your big brothers and them because they don't know how to keep an eye on the little brothers, and something always wind up happening to them. So keep going. So Benjamin stayed back. Benjamin stayed back with his daddy, but the other brothers went. Keep going.
And the sons of Israel came to buy corn among those that came, for the famine was in the land of Canaan.
Right.
And Joseph was the governor over the land. And he it was that sold to all the people of the land. And Joseph's brethren came and bowed down themselves before him with their faces to the earth.
Now, as you can see, we all know the story. Joseph was the governor. He was second in command over the entire Egyptian kingdom, right? And so the whole thing about this is the only person that had any authority over him was Pharaoh's throne. And Joseph was so cold at this, he was better at running the kingdom than Pharaoh himself. So Pharaoh wouldn't interrupt. So basically, if you messed up with Joseph, you was kaput. You was popped. Because he was just as strong as the Pharaoh. Keep going.
And Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not.
He read.
They knew not him. And Joseph remembered the dreams which he dreamed of them, and said unto them, Ye are spies, to see the nakedness of the land ye are come.
So as you can see, Joseph remember, man, what his brothers did to him. So, you know, it's kind of that awkward feeling because, you know, in one sense, he happy to see his brothers, but he's salty too. Like, I'm here because y'all sold me over here into slavery. I know my daddy don't even know what y'all did to me. He think I'm dead. You see what I'm saying? But look at this now. I got power. Y'all got to come to me. So he made it a little bit rough for him and started talking to him like they were just some regular Israelite jakes, and he's an Egyptian. So he talked to him like he was a stranger. Like, man, did y'all come in here to spy out the land? That's what it means by see the nakedness. Meaning y'all trying to see the vulnerabilities of our kingdom so y'all can try to sneak us? Keep reading. What verse?
I'm at 10.
Keep going.
And they said unto him, Nay, my lord, but to buy food are thy servants come. We are all one man's son. We are true men. Thy servants are not spies.
See, so they trying to confess him. They like, no, man, we ain't on no spy stuff. We ain't dealing with no legions or none of your enemies or nothing like that. We just coming to get some corn. It's droughted out over here in the land of Canaan. And all of us come from one dude. Because they probably thinking like, yeah, man, he see all us together. They probably think we part of some little army or something because we deep. Not knowing that this Joseph. So he know that, yeah, y'all, you know, my daddy had a bunch of kids like that. So they let him know, no, all us came from one man. Continue reading.
And they said, Thy servants are 12 brethren, the sons of one man. In the land of Canaan, and behold, the youngest is this day with our father, and one is not.
So he letting them know, look, man, we told you it was, you know, it was all us came from this one man, but one of them not here with us. You know what I'm saying? He just not here with us. But keep going.
And Joseph said unto them, That is it that I spake unto you, saying, Ye are spies. Hereby ye shall be proved. By the life of Pharaoh ye shall not go forth hence, except your youngest brother come hither. So
now Joseph playing hardball with him. He like, nah, man, y'all spies. I'm not trying to hear that. Okay, if y'all got another little brother, why don't y'all go get y'all brother, right? I got to go see this brother, or I'm going to think y'all spies. Keep going.
Send one of you. Let him fetch your brother. And ye shall be kept in prison, and your words may be proved, whether there be any truth in you, or else by the life of Pharaoh, surely ye are spies. So he told him, look, man, and he finna go on and tell him, look, matter of fact, we finna snatch one of your brothers up just as an insurance policy. But you go ahead, send one of your brothers down there to go ahead and get them, or I'm gonna think like on the Pharaoh, you know how we talk now, man, on such and such and them. Man, on the Pharaoh, Joe, y'all gonna be out of there, man, because y'all really some spies. Keep reading. And he put them all together into war 3 days. And he put them in there for 3 days. Now watch this. And Joseph said unto them, The third day this do and live, for I fear God. So as you can see, Joseph is still keeping this practice and this understanding. So he using the 3-day purification or completing the process for them to prove themselves. Although he already know, he just making them go through this. And you think it's a coincidence that he said 3 days? Like, no, I'm going to keep it for 3 days. For one, they get them some real time to just, oh, they just nervous. They going to be stressed out. They get them some time. He got to give them a little torture for what they did to him. But ultimately, his heart going to be softened because he love his brothers, he love his father. And then it turns into a happy story. But I wanted y'all to peep that.
He even, in the midst of this, he's still keeping some type of understanding. Joseph was extremely wise too. So he told them, I'm going to hold them down for 3 days, right? And then after that, you're going to either be granted life or death. Because always something come after that 3. You see what I'm saying? It's always something that come after that 3. So I want to go to, let me see. That was Genesis 14. Let's go to, let me see where I want to go next. So I hope y'all enjoying this, people. We almost through it. Let's go to 1 Kings. Let's go to 1 Kings to continue on this narrative right here. 1 Kings. Let's go to 1 Kings. And 1 Kings, the 9th chapter. 1 Kings 9. First Kings 9, and when you get there, bro, I want you to read, I don't know how I'd be telling you to go somewhere, and I'd be all the way on the other side. 1 Kings 9, and I want you to pick it up. Let me see. Okay, read verse 25. 1 Kings 9 to 25.
And 3 times in a year did Solomon offer burnt offerings and peace offerings upon the altar, which he built unto the Lord. And he burnt incense upon the altar that was before the Lord. So he finished the house.
So this is one key things too. Now you got to think Solomon was the wisest man on earth. And what did he do? 3 times a year he burnt peace offerings and burnt offerings on the altar in the house of the Lord. Now, this is the temple. Why 3, y'all? All this is for a reason. These cats had an understanding that was almost to the point where it was an unwritten rule. They knew certain things. So I want y'all to get this ingrained in y'all head. And little do y'all know, believe it or not, I could actually picked about 14 to 15 more verses to add to this. I had to get rid of some because we'd be here all night to 2 in the morning teaching this lesson. But this thing is continuously from the Old Testament and New Testament. And why am I teaching this lesson? Why the Lord got this on my spirit? Is because I want us to see the wisdom of our forefathers, man. And they was doing all this according to their knowledge of the Most High God. So Solomon gave up offerings 3 times a year at the temple. Now, y'all know for a fact Solomon had so much wisdom, he definitely wouldn't do nothing for no reason. So we're going to stay on that same track. And let's go to, let's go back to Exodus, the 19th chapter. So let's go to Exodus, the 19th chapter. Now, keep in mind with Solomon giving those peace offerings 3 times a year at the temple, too. Because I know y'all know where y'all going to. Y'all know we had to report in, right? Mandatory on males, right? Yeah. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
Same spirit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Leviticus 23, Joe. So let's go to Exodus, the 19th chapter. Exodus 19. And Exodus, the 19th chapter. And I want you to read. Now, this is really finna blow y'all noodles back if they ain't been knocked back yet. Because I want this to be sold in y'all head, right? So when you start seeing certain stuff in the scriptures, you don't think that, well, why did he do that 7 times? Why did he do that 3 times? It was all for a reason, right? This right here is really deep because this is when the Most High is coming on the mount personally to speak to the children of Israel. Read verse 1, Mishael. Let's see when he did this. So even the Most High only move a certain way. Not just Israel. According to the Most High don't break how he move. Read verse 1.
In the 3rd month.
In the what month?
In the 3rd month.
Say it one more time.
In the 3rd month.
Go ahead.
When the children of Israel were gone forth out of the land of Egypt, the same day came they into the wilderness of Sinai.
So as you can see, even when he set all this up and you keep on reading, This going to lead into Exodus, the 20th chapter. Matter of fact, we could read a little bit more. Keep going. I don't want to just cut that straight off. This is a real interesting story. Read verse, go on verse 2.
For they were departed from Rephidim, and were come to the desert of Sinai, and had pitched in the wilderness, and there Israel camped before the mount. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, tell the children of Israel.
So, as you can see, the Lord literally called out to Moses in the 3rd month from the mountains to get it so he can get ready to get the instructions to the house of Israel. This is how we got this Bible right here. All this was in the 3rd month, y'all. Remember, 3rd is preparation for a lot of things. It's purification. It is a form of completeness, and it is a cleansing process. This is what the 3 represents in the Hebraic concept, or better yet, in God's concept, from what we can understand. So, let's just continue reading. We almost there, y'all. I don't want y'all to get bored with it now, because it's gonna get a little interesting on how it's gonna end too. So let's go to let's see where I want to go this time. Go to Esther. Let's go to the book of Esther. My brother Kazak's favorite book over here now. Yeah, let's go to the book of Esther. And so, yeah, man, so the Lord had this on my spirit. And I was just like, I've gone ahead and deal with it. And so that's how we got here. Go to Esther. And I want you to read verse 16. Did you want that? Oh, okay, you got it. All right, go to Esther. I want you to read verse 16 for me.
And Mumikin answered. That's all right. Mumikin.
Who?
And Mumikin.
Oh, yeah, you cool. Mamukan.
Mamukan, okay.
Yeah.
And Mumikan answered before the king and the princess. Vashti, the queen, have not done wrong to the king only, but also to all the princes, and to all the people that are in all the provinces of the king Asharis.
Let me see where you were. Hold on.
That's the one.
I think I did. Yeah, I definitely think I did. Yes, that's what I meant. Right, because I'm sitting here like something. I done got myself messed all up. Yeah, my bad. No, that wasn't your fault. That was my fault. I sent you off.
That name was a little doozy.
Yeah, go to Esther 4 and 16, bro.
I'm here.
Go ahead, read it.
Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. Okay, so to give y'all a backdrop on this right here real quick, right? So, she's saying that, matter of fact, I'm gonna make it even clearer. I want to make it even clearer. Back. Okay. Let me see. Okay, yeah, my bad, y'all. Yeah, we're gonna have to speed it up a little bit. So let me see. You read verse 16. Okay, so if you read this story right here, read verse 16 again. Read verse 16 again. Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me. Neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise. And so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish.
Mm-hmm.
So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded.
So Esther commanded her cousin Mordecai, which was her adoptive father. He raised her. She commanded him to go ahead and do what I told you. Because see, this the thing. The reason she said not according to the law. If you bag up and read earlier, it was a law that if you came before the king, you had to have a 30-day notice. So if you came before that 30-day notice and you come past them gates, you could be put to death. And the only way you could be saved from being put to death, the king will have to see you and put out his scepter. The king will have to see you and put out his scepter. You know what I'm saying? And that will give you the okay, so the soldiers won't just strike you down and kill you. So basically, this sister Esther, Queen Hadassah, this was a real true sister, Joe. She saved us from eradication, from being eradicated, because these cats had conspired to wipe us out. You see what I'm saying? And so she took it upon herself. Like I said, if you read earlier in the story, read this whole thing. Matter of fact, we'll just keep reading. Go to chapter 5.
Now it came to pass on the third day.
On the what day?
On the third day.
Keep going.
That Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house, over against the gate of the house.
So she put on her royal garments because she's the queen. Now, mind you, it didn't matter if she was the queen or not. You had to give a 30-day in advance. You had to give a 30-day to let the king know that you was coming. You couldn't just pop up on him, but she figured she queen, so she'll get a little, I don't know how I'm going to do this then. I'm going to sit the camera back. Well, they're going to be sideways. I don't want to put no shortage in this cord. Well, we ain't going to be that much longer. Yeah, so like I was saying, it had to be, like you couldn't just come to the king's palace unannounced, right? Y'all got that. But so Queen Esther, when the news was first told to her, if you read back earlier, her and Mordecai was sending letters back and forth to each other. And Mordecai was distressed, right? Because he had heard about the plan of them to commit genocide on them, right? And so basically, people was mourning in Israel that called wind of this. So they had on their sackcloth. They had on their mourning gear. You definitely couldn't come near the king's temple with that on. So she put on her royal stuff, right? She's actually risking her life because she didn't give a notice that she was coming. 30 days. She figured I'm the queen. Matter of fact, she gonna tell you in here, if she died, she died. Matter of fact, read in chapter 4 before you went to 5. Read that verse 16 again. Sorry, y'all. The train coming, the battery going low. The devil tried to interfere, but we gonna keep it going. Go ahead.
Go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. So
she like, if I die, I die. But y'all all fast with me. I'm going to get me and my girls, we going to fast. Me and my people going to fast too. Fast that this thing work out. But if I die, I die. So she willing to put herself out there to save her people. Keep reading. So Mordecai went his way. Go ahead.
And did according to all that Esther had commanded.
Now go back to chapter 5. And you can skip down to verse 2. We see that she switched into her royal gear, right? And so the king peeped her at the gate. Read verse 2.
And it was so. When the king saw Esther, the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther
the scepter,
the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter.
Keep on.
Then said the king unto her, What wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? and it shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
So basically, the king let her know it's cool because he had a thing for Esther anyway. And she hadn't seen him in a long time. Matter of fact, I think she hadn't seen him in 30 days. Well, that's what it was. But the law was you could not just come to the king's, you couldn't come to the king's palace. You definitely couldn't cross past the gate. So she was risking her life. That's what she meant, like it's not in the law. She went against the law, right? But so at this point, he happy to see it. He's like, man, what's going on? Tell me what's up, right? And so she gonna go on to tell him about how dude and them came up with this plan to eradicate the Jews and all that type of stuff. He gonna wind up hanging them. He gonna hang dude, his sons, and everybody else. So Esther served the day. But what did she do? She fasted for 3 days. And you know when you fast, you pray. So she and all the other her people and the other Israelites that was in this Persian captivity fast for 3 days. And you know what happened? The Lord reacted. That's how Esther was able to go in to make all the next events take place. Her and Mordecai, right? So this goes to show you this thing is not spookism. It is a science. It is a science to this, right? This is a lifeline that we trying to get back with the Most High so we can start having the Most High react on our behalf. I ain't saying you got to do it exactly this way, but I guarantee you it will not hurt, especially if your heart is sincere. So we're going to continue, and we already read the verse, chapter 5, so we don't really got to go there, but I had threw that in there. But we're going to go to, as a matter of fact, oh, wow, well, okay. I guess I could do that. Let me see. I'm going to make a little alteration on this one right here. Let's go to 16. Revelations, the 11th chapter. I want y'all to peep something else real quick, too. Let's go to Revelations, the 11th chapter. Revelations 11. I kind of threw myself off. I really didn't want to go to Esther right then and but that's okay. It'll still work out. Revelations 11. And I want you to pick it up in verse 3. Revelations 11 and verse 3.
And I will give power unto my 2 witnesses, and they shall prophesy 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth. Mm-hmm. And these are 2 olive trees, and the 2 candlesticks standing before the God of the earth. Mm-hmm. And if any man will hurt them, fire proceeded out of their mouth, and devoured their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in his manner be killed. In this manner be killed. Mm-hmm. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all the plagues as often as they will. Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascended out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. Mm-hmm. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they are the people and the kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half, and shall not suffer their bodies to be put in graves.
Now, here we go again. Now, these are the 2 witnesses. These would be some powerful cats. And I know that I can see where they would represent the 2 kingdoms, which is Jerusalem and Samaria, or Israel and Judah. I can see them representing that. But we know that they literal because they say 2 prophets. So these are 2 people, right? And what we see is it say that they dead by, after they do all these things, they going to get down, Joe. They going to show that, you know, the Most High got some soldiers out here too. They going to do some miraculous things. And this is why some people have came up with the doctrine that they think this is Elijah and Enoch and all that. I'm not going to, can't say none of that. You see what I'm saying? It's a number of reasons why I can't see that flying. But I do understand why, because I did notice that one of the things they'd be able to do is make fire rain down. We know Elijah was famous for that. You see what I'm saying? So I understand why people come with these, but the point of it is they will lie in the city for 3.5 days. You see what I'm saying? That 3-day got to be automatic. Just like Jesus was in the ground for 3 days. Now you got that half on there. But you know what else funny? How long was Jesus' ministry? 3.5 years. So they going to be dead in the streets for 3.5 days. Y'all think that's coincidental? No, it ain't. Keep going.
And they that dwell upon the earth
What verse you at?
10.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them, and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another. Because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them. And they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them.
Now you see that? So after them 3 days, the spirit of the Lord entered into them, and they rose up. I'm going to show y'all something that's real deep about this, right? Because this ain't for no reason. After 3.5 days, the spirit of the Lord rose them up, right? Read verse 12.
And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them.
Okay, so we want to go to, I want to show y'all something, right? Because this is deep on a lot of levels. I want you to go to, let's go back to 1 Kings. Let's go back to 1 Kings. I want you to go to chapter 17. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 17. I want to show y'all a pre-shadow to this. Or I wouldn't even say a pre-shadow to this, but just to show you that it is a reason. It is a reason that 3 days is a process, like, you know, when it comes to, like, you know, raising in the spirit entering into you and all that type of stuff. So go to 1 Kings, and I want you to go to the 17th chapter, 1 Kings 17. And when you get there, I want you to pick it up at verse 21. 1 Kings 17, and I'm in 2 Kings, my bad. 1 Kings 17, hold up. And 21. 1 Kings 17, 21. Okay. Go ahead. 1 Kings 17. Hold up. 1 Kings chapter 17. I'm bugging out. Pardon me, y'all. I'm doing too much. 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 21. Okay, go ahead. Pick it up at verse 20.
And he cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, hast thou also brought evil upon the widow with whom I sojourn by slaying her son?
Now, this is dealing with the prophet Elijah, right? And that's funny that we just spoke of Elijah when we was dealing with Revelations 11, right? But I want y'all to peep something. This is the prophet Elijah. And this woman's son had died, right? Let's see what happened. Read the next verse.
And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times and cried unto the Lord and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come unto him again.
So now the child is dead. And so the prophet Elijah is using the power of the Lord, right, to resurrect this child and bring him from the dead. Just like that spirit entered into those people after 3 days, right? Into the 2 witnesses after 3 days. Elijah is going to resurrect this child, right? And one of the things he do is, you know how, like, you give people CPR, you push on their chest? Well, he embraced this child 3 times and asked the Lord to send his spirit into him, like you see in the future that's going to happen with the 2 witnesses. And they keep reading.
And the Lord heard the voice of Elijah, and the soul of the child came into him again, and he revived.
Now, you see that? After 3, the Lord heard him, and what did he do? He reacted. We keep seeing this. Whether it's 3 pumps, 3 hugs, 3 prayers, 3 whatever. You know what I said? 3 days. You see what I said? 3 days of fasting. The Lord responded, and his spirit entered into this child, and he was revived from the dead, right? Some people don't even know Jesus ain't the only one that raised the dead. Elijah raised the dead. You feel me? Keep going.
And Elijah took the child and brought him down out of the chamber into the house and delivered him unto his mother. And Elijah said, see, thy son liveth.
See him? Elijah like, look. See, now you act like it ain't no sweat. Like he wasn't in no type of panic or nothing. He said, you see it? Your child alive. Don't worry about it. No sweat. You know what I'm saying? This is a man, and if you read earlier, they call him a man of God. So you got that type of power. You supposed to have that type of faith and authority because He was one of the ones of the path of old. He walked in the ways of the Lord. He knew how to get the Lord to respond. Therefore, he would have power. But you can read the last verse, 24.
And the woman said to Elijah, now by this I know that thou art a man of God, and that the word of the Lord in thy mouth is truth.
So there you go. That's that. So let's go to 1 Samuel. Let's go to 1 Samuel. Right on over. Not too far. Bag up. 1 Samuel. Make sure I got the right one. 1 Samuel 20. I think I'm in the right spot. Yeah. 1 Samuel 20. Let me see. 25. Come on, go to 1 Samuel. You straight?
Yeah, I was looking for my juice.
Oh.
Got some feet. I guess they ain't want to hear the word. Got some
What
feet.
in the world? I just sent you with the juice.
Grabbed it.
Oh, wow. He's drinking your joint. All right, come on. Well, you drinking this word right now. You be all right.
Yeah.
All right, come on. So go to 1 Samuel. These jakes is off the chain. If I just told y'all what just happened, this is hilarious. 1 Samuel chapter 20. And, hey, I want y'all to peep this. Got to throw this in there. But for those who say that you got to count 7 days from the new moon to get the Sabbath, this one ain't finna turn out too good for you. But just pay attention to it, though. Pay attention to it. That's not why I'm going here. I'm going here because we dealing with this 3-day thing. So I want you to pick it up at this 1 Samuel 20 and verse 5.
And David said unto Jonathan, behold, tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at meat. But let me go that I might hide myself in the field until the 3rd day at evening.
So, as we know, well, you might not know, but King Saul wanted to kill David, right? And so Jonathan was his best friend, which was Saul's son. And so they coming with this thing like, man, Joe, David, like, man, your daddy want to kill me. Jonathan, like, I'm going to investigate it. I doubt it. But just in case, I want you to go hide in the field for 3 days, right? And come out on the 3rd day. Now, here's the key. What did he tell him? He said, behold, tomorrow is the new moon. So look, right, during the new moon, they will have feasts. They will have gatherings during the new moon. You see what I'm saying? It is a memorial. It's a commemorated day in Israel, right? That's what we recognize the new moon. You see what I'm saying? We don't do no buying and selling and all that. We do the same thing. We might cook up some food, have some drink. If it fall on a weekly Sabbath, then we just don't do no drinking and cooking, but we still get together and we might blow the trumpet or whatever. But nevertheless, we see that he told him 3 days, right, after the new moon, then he'd get up with him. So let's stay on this path right here. I want you to skip down to verse 11. Skip down, same chapter, skip down to verse 11.
And Jonathan said unto David, come, let us go out into the field. And they went out, both of them, into the field. And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow any time or the 3rd day, and behold, if there be good toward David, and I send not unto thee, and shew thee.
So, again, y'all gonna see it. They is adamant about this 3 days thing. So he had to chill out for 3 days, right? For this plan to go, not go south and make sure, because he know King Saul is going to be like, man, why this dude ain't here? What he got going on. So basically, making a long story short, David came up with a story like, man, tell your old man I'm going to be out at my mom and my people in them crib down there, keeping the moon with them. So he don't be looking for me and think I got something fishy going on. So I want you to skip down to verse 18.
And Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty. And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly and come to the place where thou didst hide thyself when the business was at hand, and shalt remain by the stone Ezel. Again,
now you got to ask yourself, from what we've been reading so far, we know it's not just by chance that he chose 3 days to do this. Why 3 days? Because after 3 days, usually something is clear. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen after that 3-day process. You know that. So that's why Jonathan told him, man, we going to do it by 3 days. Remember, you always get a reaction. Something always happen after 3 days dealing with these cats. That's what we've been seeing. Skip down to verse 41.
And as soon as the lad was gone, David rose out of the place toward the south and fell on his face to the ground and bowed himself 3 times. And they kissed one another and wept one with another until David exceeded.
So, as you can see, when they met each other, the first thing they did was bow down, right? And bowed themselves 3 times. So when you see me and our brothers greet each other, we give each other the handshake, and we do this to each other 3 times. And this is a form of a holy kiss. You see it in the New Testament when it say greet your brother with a holy kiss. So I'm letting y'all know when y'all see us even do stuff, we not just doing it to look cool, but we following the path of the old. Not only just in law, but also in some of these customs. Because they had reasons that they did certain things because they had a different understanding, right? They wasn't as spiritually dead as we are now. So when you see me and our brothers greet each other with the holy kiss, we ain't literally kissing each other. We do like this on each side. That's 3 times. We doing the same thing Jonathan and David did, right? So just letting y'all know that we don't just be doing stuff to make it look cool. I mean, I did that when I was gang. Even when we was gang banging, we had handshakes. They all meant something. We wasn't just doing it for nothing. So I want you to, but I got to point this out since we here. Now remember, 3 days. This him meeting him. That Jonathan and David. This is the 3rd day after the new moon. So I want to point something out to y'all for those who do the floating Sabbath. Well, the Sabbath count 7 days after the new moon to get a Sabbath. And so they don't deal with the regular weekly Sabbath. They only deal with counting 7 days after the new moon, right? Or 6 days after the new moon, and the new moon being the first day. So watch this, right? Go to the next chapter, chapter 21. Pick it up in verse 1. We want to see if that's possible.
Then came David to Nob, to Ahimelech, the priest.
Mm-hmm.
And Ahimelech was afraid at the meeting of David, and said unto him, Why art thou alone and no man with thee? Mm-hmm. David said unto Ahimelech, the priest, The king have commanded me a business, and have said unto me, Let no man know anything of the business whereabout I send thee. Mm-hmm. And what I have commanded thee, and I have appointed my servants to such and such a place.
So basically, Ahimelech see David. He know David and Jonathan is like brothers. And so he know David is from the house of Saul. So he sitting here looking like, come on, dude, you royalty. Why you ain't out here with no servants? Where your servants at, man? You must be up to something. So he spent them with a story. And it's so funny because at the end, he don't even try to make up a place where he say his servants at. He said his service is at such and such. You know this a Negro. He literally said such and such place. Look, read that again, man. The last paragraph of verse 2. And I have appointed.
And I have appointed my servants to such and such a place.
So you know this is a straight Jake, right? I have appointed my servants to, such and such a place. He ain't feel like getting into all that. Look, man, I got an objective right here. Keep, that's definitely one of. Keep reading, though.
Now, therefore, what is under thy hand? Mm-hmm. Give me 5 loaves of bread in my hand, or what there is present. Mm-hmm. And the priest answered David and said, There is no common bread unto my hand. Mm-hmm. But there is hollow bread if the young men have kept themselves at least from women.
So you see this? Now the priest responds, David tell him, hey, look, to the priest, hey, give me some of that bread, man. We out here hungry, Joe. And the priest said, ain't no common bread under my arm here, man. All I got is hollowed bread. Do y'all know what this bread is? This is the show bread. This is the show bread that the priest had in the temple. That had to be in there forever, right? So watch where it's going. So he tell him, man, all I got is this holy show bread. So what was the last thing he asked him? He said, if the young men have kept themselves from at least women. So he tell you, look, man, I'm going to give you this showbread, you and your servants that's in such and such place. But y'all better at least have kept y'allself from women. You see what I'm saying? Because you finna eat a holy thing right now. So you couldn't be defiling yourself and stuff like that. Even remember when Israel had to go before the Lord on the mount. You know, they had to cleanse themselves and they couldn't been with their woman for 3 days. Right. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't even the regular at even you unclean. You going before the Lord. It was 3 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, 3 days, Joe. Clean yourself for 2 days, wash your clothes. 3rd day, yo, you better not been with your wife or none of that. So this priest is on the same thing. So continue reading. Read verse 5.
And David answered the priest and said unto him, of a truth, women have been kept from us about these 3 days.
See that? Women, he said, yeah, man. Women been kept from us about these 3 days. Like, man, Joe, we ain't been having no parties. We ain't been doing nothing wild. Because you got to think how the priest is thinking. He thinking, dude, I know you was at the new moon. You see what I'm saying? And you know, new moon is a feast. So it's drinking and all type of stuff there. And you know, you probably got one of your wives, your woman. I'm trying to remember if your dad had a wife at this time. I'm trying to think if he did. But he don't know. He's a young man. You know, he might have been getting busy. You know, he's like, no, man, I ain't been with no woman 3 days, nothing like that. Keep reading.
And that
since I came out,
and the vessels of the young men are holy, and the bread is in a manner common. Mm-hmm. Yea, though it were sanctified this day in the vessel.
So you see what he said? He said, okay, man, yeah, man, because, you know, the bread is holy. We know that bread has been sanctified that day. So do y'all know what this is, y'all? Again, this is the showbread. This is the holy bread of the Lord. Now, so he caught this priest in the middle of switching God's holy bread, which was a law. You couldn't keep the showbread table empty. Let's look at the only time, and this is why the bread was fresh like that. Let's look at the only time that they could switch the showbread, right? So let's go to Leviticus, the 24th chapter. Just a little throwing something in there that ain't got nothing to do with the lesson, but hey.
Learn something on your way.
Yeah, learning something on the way to learning something, as the teacher say. Leviticus 24. If you get there, read verse 7, bro. Leviticus 24:7. So we showing you what day this was that David bumped into him. Mind you, this was 3 days after the new moon, y'all. 3 days after the new moon. Go to Leviticus, the 24th chapter, and read verse 7. Leviticus 24:7.
And thou shalt put pure frankincense upon each robe, that it may be on the bread for a memorial, even an offering made by fire unto the Lord. Every Sabbath.
What?
Every Sabbath.
Keep going.
He shall set it in order before the Lord continually.
Okay.
Being taken from the children of Israel by an
everlasting covenant. So this what the priest was doing. He was taking the bread that he had to lay in order continually every Sabbath day. It was a violation if you didn't do it if you did it any other day than the Sabbath day. You got yourself killed. That was the holy things. You see what I'm saying? So this was the 7th day, weekly Sabbath, 3 days after the new moon. So that kills, you got to count 7 days after the new moon to keep the Sabbath. Because we see right here, when David bumped into the priest, he was switching the showbread on the weekly Sabbath, which was the 7th day of the week. And that was 3 days after the new moon. So I just had to throw that out there. I know some of y'all going to be upset ripping your pages out. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't got to do all that. Just consider this and stop being so quick to say that we around here following a Jewish calendar or a Greco-Roman or anything like that. No, they always had this understanding back then. Those new moons are set up for seasons and years and feasts. The time scale of 7-day weeks was already set up before the month of Abib was even given to us after we came up out of Egypt. So I just want to drop that jewel also. So we almost done, y'all. We winding down. We down here near the end now. As a matter of fact, let me see how I'm end this directly out. Let me see this. 20. I think I got one more. Give me 1 second. Bear with me. I think that might be the last one.
That number's 19.
Oh, you talking about the numbers?
Acts 9 too.
Oh, Acts 9. Yeah. So I got I think I could kind of leave it right there. But I just like to say, I hope that y'all been enjoying this lesson. I hope that y'all was edified and y'all learned something from it. So, you know, our whole goal is I will do a part 2 of this, called The Old Paths Part 2. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to focus in on that one. But our whole thing is to try to get back to the ways of our righteous forefathers, or even get back to the ways of our forefathers when they were in their righteous mode, right? For sure, Latoya, thank you, beloved. Shalom, Sister Kimberly. Shalom, Brother Michael. I want to end it with one thing, too. Might as well. I actually wasn't going to put this in there. But let's go to Numbers, the 6th chapter. I had brought this up to y'all before we even got to the lesson, but I never read it. Because we got sidetracked. Y'all know, I know a bunch of y'all been asking me to deal with the witchcraft. I keep saying I'm going to do a witchcraft lesson, exposing modern day witchcraft, how to identify it, right? I'm still going to do that. But I want to put it together so solid. So instead of having y'all waiting around like a bunch of little chicken heads, like I'm somebody, because I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to at least drop a couple of jewels or something that the Lord showed me that can at least keep y'all a little fed until I actually do that lesson, right? And so I'm going to tell you this real quick and we're going to end it out. I don't know how many of y'all know about this, but I'm pretty sure most of the black community do. It's something that we used to do. They had old wives' tales and myths about, y'all done all heard that burn your hair so that a bird don't get it and make a nest out of it and drive you crazy. That was one. The other one was, you know, you didn't want a witch to get a hold of your hair and do some type of voodoo on you, or a witch doctor or something like that. Because, you know, our people can be real super into the dark spookies. And so, especially the people over, our people over in Haiti and Jamaica and all that, they know what I'm talking about. But the people down south do too. And so, somewhere down the line, I fell off into that at a young age. And so, I would burn my hair, right? And I found myself still doing it. But now, of course, since I've been in the truth, I got understanding, so I didn't do it for a superstitious reason. I just done it out of custom. So I would burn my hair because, for one, I ain't like seeing my hair floating around and all that type of stuff. And I was sitting there reading the scriptures one day, and the Lord hit me with something, and it scared me. And so I want y'all to pay attention to this and be careful what y'all be around here doing, or at least know where you might have got that custom from. So, brother, I want you to read number 6 and start at verse 17. 6 and 17. And matter of fact, I take that back. Start from verse 2.
Speaking to the children of Israel, and say unto them, when either man or woman shall separate themselves to a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Lord,
verse 3.
He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dry. All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head, until the days be fulfilled. In the which he separated himself unto the Lord, he shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow.
Now, this is the Nazarite vow that some brothers and sisters like to take. I wouldn't do it nowadays, but some people, you know, they may feel spiritually compelled to do it. But the thing is, you have to be careful, because the Nazarite vow is taken very serious by the Most High God. Because, you know, the holiest people in Israel, the standard of holy, are the high priests, the sons of Aaron, right? And if you go look at them, they had a bunch of prohibitions on them that they couldn't do because they had a holy seed. And they were supposed to stay as pure and closest to holy as possible. When you take that Nazirite vow, during the time of your separation in that vow, you separated from the world, meaning you're not doing a lot of the things that's even lawful. You couldn't drink wine and all that type of stuff. You are at your holiest because you did that to become closer to God, to have things revealed to you, to be strengthened spiritually, right? So, and the Lord will do it. You're going to be a changed man if you take a Nazirite vow, but you better not break it. But when it comes time of you to end your Nazirite vow, I want you to watch this. Keep reading.
All the days that he separated himself unto the Lord, he shall come at no dead body. He shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, or for his brother, or for his sister, when they die, because the consecration of his God is upon his head.
So you see that? So the consecration of his God is upon his head. So when you see that hair growing and them locks long and all that type of stuff, this is a symbol. It goes back to Samson. Samson was a Nazirite. We know his strength was in his hair. And he literally got physical super strength from that. But you know what I'm saying? And so it's certain stuff you just better not do. And do you notice some of the things you couldn't come on a dead body or none of your kin or none of that? Who do this sound like? If you go read the high priest, it was the exact same way. They couldn't go touching no dead body. They couldn't go to no funerals or I kept your mom and dad, none of that type of stuff. He made an exception. Now, if something happened and if your sister, the mama and daddy, but like other people, they just couldn't do stuff. You have to go back and read it for yourself. But I know, like, even if it was your sister and you was a high priest and she died, the only way you could even go near her is if she was a virgin. So your sister had to be pure. She couldn't have had no husband or none of that type of stuff. So that's another thing too, sisters. You see why the Lord took virginity for our women real strong. I know we saying that the boys and girls should be growing up virgins, but he really put that emphasis on the females. There's something spiritual to that too. Apparently how many men have been up in you, it's more than just physical. It leaves some spiritual stuff behind that. So they couldn't be around a priest, like especially if they died, but that's another story. But you see the Nazirite is the closest to that. He kind of putting himself in a high priest type position, right? And so I want you to keep on, matter of fact, skip down to verse 17.
And he shall offer the ram for a sacrifice of peace offering unto the Lord, with a basket of unleavened bread, and the priest shall offer also his meat offering and his drink offering. Okay, so this is once the vow of the Nazirite is done, it's been broken or whatever. This is what he had to do, right? Peep this. Read this next verse. And the Nazirite shall shave the head of his separation.
He shall what?
Shave the head of his separation.
Now remember, that hair wasn't supposed to be cut, but this is the end of his vow. Keep going.
At the door of the tabernacle or the congregation. And shall take the hair of the head of his separation and put it in the fire, which is under the sacrifice.
And put it in the what?
The fire.
And keep going.
Which is under the sacrifice of the peace offerings.
So, when we out here burning our hair, and they've been telling us this stuff, do you know that was the Nazirites would burn their hair as a peace offering to the Most High, according to a holy vow that they took. So my question got to be, who did you have a vow with? Because you definitely didn't have a Nazirite vow to the Most High God. So who is you burning your hair to? Who was your vow with? And if a person doing it out of ignorance like I was, just out of custom, you say, okay. But once you've showed this to them and they keep doing it, they got something else going on. They got something else going on because you just showed them. You might want to be careful around here burning your hair. You know, just grabbing and burning, talking about some witches might get it or some birds going to make a thing out of it. That was literally a ceremonial to the Most High after you was dealing with the holy vow of the Lord. So if it ain't the holy vow of the Lord, who you burning your hair to? So that's just something to keep in mind because I said we was going to deal with spiritual meat. I hope y'all all was edified by that. I thank my brother Mishael my nephew.
Yes, sir.
Know what I'm saying? One of the sharp soldiers in Israel right now, up and coming. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, thank you to my brother Kazak Ben Yehuda for letting me use your channel and your wall. This, again, I still can't find my Walls of Jericho page, but this will be on Cash's Israel Walls of Jericho. So y'all check it out. It'll also be on Hebrews in the Hood. So I love y'all, and I'd like to say shalom, shalom, peace.
Shalom.